Welcome back, and for anybody that's new, I'm Casey. So in today's video, I want to explore the idea of making a cheap dump trailer. Now, I want to keep this relatively cheap, so we're talking about maximum like 400 bucks in comparison to a dump trailer. They're usually like 2,700 around where I live. Now, that's not going to include the price of the stuff I got laying around, so that's going to be for any of the metal and soldering wire, stuff like that. Soldering wire, welding wire. So what that also means is we can't be using any of these fancy hydraulics. We're going to also have to make this simple, and I'm going to have to recycle a lot of things. So it'll be interesting to see how well it works out, and nothing left to do, but let's get to it.
All right, so the start of the plan here is this plywood's going to come off, or chipboard, whatever you call it. And I'm going to build a frame out of this. This is 1x2. I'm not going to be using this for too heavy of stuff, but I at least want it to be able to be useful. So I got to take and cut these corners off because I want the new plywood to land right halfway on here. And then that's going to give me part of the gap that I need for the 3/4 inch on the outside. I want to be able to put full sheets of plywood in here when I'm done is the goal. So yeah, let's make a frame. All right, so essentially I'm going to take and measure half the width. Then I'm going to take and put a tab right here, and I'm just going to spot weld that in place. And I'm going to do that on each side, and that's going to be my guide, so that way I know where the board's going to sit. All right, so first I'm going to make the frame. Now I took and I put these little tabs on here so that way it would hold it nice and tight against here, and that way I could ensure that it's square. Now as far as square this way, I don't know the best way to do it technically, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take and I'm going to weld one corner up. I'm going to stretch these strings across each side, and then I'll twist it until they just touch, and maybe just a smidget past to account for the thickness of the string, but it doesn't need to be that precise. So yeah, I'll start welding this up.
So right off the bat with saving money is this boat trailer. This is an old boat trailer I had laying around. It had like a 16 or 17 foot boat on it. I don't even remember, it's been that long ago. One of the things I like on it though is it has a really long neck to it. And it's not very heavy duty, but again, this isn't supposed to be like a really heavy duty trailer. It's supposed to be one for smaller things and for around the house. Mainly like brush and trash. I don't want to be sitting here trying to dump a bunch of wood off or, rocks or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to use these bullet hinges, and they're able to be greased up. Now these are weld-on hinges, so I'm going to take and tack this to a block that's going to be a guide, so that way I can put them on better. And I do that on both sides. If at first you don't succeed, try again. This time, I'll be able to use 2 hands though, because I'll do it off camera. What in the drunken, where was I going? Again. Like I said, keep trying, keep practicing, but I'll probably stop showing you welds now. All right, so the nice part is I'm gonna have a lot of redundancies in here, which means that I'm gonna take and I'm gonna be welding in a whole bunch of different spots all over the place. and I'm going to be really soaking some heat into here so that way I can get those attached good. But the concept is here. You have a hinge, you have some guide rails that can go on it. Up here, this is a guide, so that way as it comes down, it'll get centered again, which shouldn't really be an issue, but I wanted to make sure. It's also going to guide the cable that's going to go here later, but there's that in action. I do see that this slid over a little bit when it's all the way tight on here, which that'll have to be all right. I might just make a little adjustment right here to hold it snug, so that way it holds it nice and in its place. Now to weld it up, and then we'll do the bed, and we'll do the lift part, I think. We'll see. All right, so a little change of plans. My wife reminded me that we need this very soon as just a trailer. So I'm gonna take and weld a bunch of this up, and then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna paint it, and we're gonna throw a deck on it. I'll probably leave these on here and just cut them shorter later on so they'll match the thickness of the plywood. But yeah, I'll quick weld it up, get the bed on here, and we'll be able to use it once. Then we'll work on the lift part. And for now, I'm just gonna strap it down in the front, but I'm gonna make an attachment that'll lock it in place. All right. I'm certainly not gonna brag, but I'm starting to do better. Still get little pinholes when I restart, not sure why. I'm sure you guys get the idea by now. I need to weld up a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna save my editor and also file transfer. A lot of headache, so we'll skip to me being done with this part. No matter how much I plan, I forget something. So that greaser, I had to make an access for it. That's all right, not a big deal. Maybe I'll put a strengthening brace here. So I put these corner pieces on there. I don't know if it would necessarily be necessary, but I figure it kind of cleans up the look and I'll smoothen this out. I am gonna take and drill some holes on the bottom. This is actually the bottom facing up. That way, if there does end up to be any water in here, it can find a way out. And I'll probably do that on all corners. That way it doesn't rust out as fast. All right, guys, I thought I'd give you an idea of where I'm going with this before I do it. So I'm planning to recycle these. These are from a couple snowmobiles that I parted out, and I got 4 of these. So there's 2 from one sled and 2 from the other. And I'm gonna take and build up a grid right here that goes to a cross piece here with some further strength going that way. And then that bed is gonna be attached to this, and then that's going to go down, and this side is going to be attached to that. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up like a scissor, and I probably will make the lower one shorter, which I will explain why later. But essentially, this part's going to pivot on here, and then it's going to sit in here when the bed's shut, and then it's going to open like this. And I'll have to determine how high this is going to be. Should be at like a 50-degree angle to get everything to slide out nicely. All right, so let's get working on that. First, before I do that, the area I work in is right next to a car wash, and everything gets wet, as you may have seen by things rusting. So I'm gonna clean this up, and I'm gonna get some paint down. I'll have to remove the paint where I'm gonna weld later, but I think that's gonna save me a lot of hassle in the long run. You know, I'm kind of thinking that I probably should have used a primer on this, but I think that if this does work out as well as I hope, I will actually probably be more than happy enough to sandblast it down and actually powder coat it instead. Because ideally with anything that's like, you know, tractors, trailers, or anything like that, you powder coat them. All right, guys, that's going to be the first part. We're going to have to take and put a stop right here because we're out of time. But I can't wait to see in the next one to see how much progress we make. So, till then, keep creating.